Hey guys, so today I want to talk to you about making a simple R&B ballad type of beat. Now I'm just going to go through a few of the basic patterns I see in this kind of track. Now to start with, I'm using a piano sound with a bit of reverb and delay on it to give it a bit more sparkle. And I'm going to be using the key of B major. Okay, so let me start by numbering the chords as I normally do, and I'm going to play on my left hand. I'm going to play the chords 6, 5, 2, 4. 6, 5, 2, 4. You'll notice I'm taking the middle notes out again because I find in the bass you don't want to add in thirds and major thirds, minor thirds and things like that because it makes it sound very cluttered. So starting from that bass, I'm going to try and build a chord part with my right hand that complements those left hand parts. So, now the first thing in a lot of R&B ballads is there are a lot of minor sevenths and major seventh chords used. Now, to start with, on the first chord, I want to accent that by playing an A flat minor seventh, which is still the 6th chord, but with the minor seventh. So I want to have my first chord as being, which is very kind of sparkly and kind of ballad-like. Next, let's move on to my second chord, which is the 5, or F sharp. Now I want to start off by playing an F sharp major, but I'm going to do something different. Because I started off with the minor 7th chord, I want to now keep this note being played and play the F sharp major chord, which then turns it into an F sharp major with an added 6th. Because for the F sharp chord, this is the 6th above the F sharp. That's why it's called a major 6th. If you are confused about the chord names, I've got a video on chord types. I would recommend going and viewing that to recap. So anyway, now we've got the first two chords, which sounds kind of cool and in the ballad kind of vein. The next chord I have is chord number 2, which is a C sharp chord. Now what I want to do here is I want to sort of add in a throwback to the original chord, which was the 6th with the major 7th, minor 7th, sorry. But what I want to do is I want to take out this 7th above that, and I want to add in this E down here because it will then make a C sharp minor chord, but being played up here. So, having said that, what I have is, which still sounds kind of cool and in the same vein. Also, you'll notice with my right hand, I'm making an E major 7th chord, which is also another common chord used in kind of R&B and ballad thing. The only thing I'm doing is I'm accenting it with a C sharp to give it a bit more depth and flavor. So, let's recap with the first 3 chords. You see how they kind of flow into one another because I'm using a lot of the same notes with the right hand. Those are the kind of patterns you want to look for. Let's move on to now the 4th chord, which is chord number 4, which is an E chord. Now you'll notice that in my last chord with the C sharp, I played an E major 7th chord. So it makes sense to transition into the E chord, but I want to change it up a little bit. So what I'm going to do is, instead of playing the same chord, I'm just going to take out this E to give it a bit more variation, so it's not like I'm playing the same thing. I'm slightly changing it so it accents the higher notes rather than the lower notes. So those are my 4 chords for the first time round. Let's just run through this. Sounds kind of cool. Next, I want to play the same chords again, but I want to change it up slightly. So what I'm going to do is start with the first 2 being the same, but then instead of going to the E major 7th with the right hand and the C sharp, what I want to do is I want to hold the same chords with the right hand that I was playing, the F sharp major added 6th, okay? And then play the last chord as it was. This sounds like this. So it sounds slightly different to the first time round. Putting this all together, I now have the chord progression. And this is a good base for my track. What I want to do next is I want to work on my beat. Now I've got kind of an 808 kind of kit, and I want to start off by playing an open hi-hat sound and an open hi-hat and a clap. So let's play a pattern with this. Next I want to work on my kick sound, which is just a basic kind of kick, and I'm going to be playing a kind of offbeat kind of kick pattern. So let's try this. Next I want to add in a tom kind of sound to accent my pattern and give it a bit more richness. So let's try this. So now let's have a listen to how my piano part and my drum part sound together. So they sound pretty good. It's a very kind of R&B ballad-like sound. Now, the next step is obviously to add a bit more flavor to what you're doing, so you would want to add in a few more layers. What I've done is I've added in a little piano high part over the top. I was just ad-libbing, just kind of playing around with the B major kind of scale, but obviously I was doing it up in the higher octave. So let me play you that and show you how that sounds. And with the chord progression, it just gives it a little bit more lift and a little bit, higher frequencies, which helps. So there you have it, guys. That's a basic R&B beat. The next step would obviously be to put in, bass parts and have, different things happening and different synth parts happening. But that's, the basic thing you wanna keep in mind. You wanna have it be very bright, very soulful, a lot of major 7th, minor 7th chords, and even added 6th, and a lot more jazzy chords to give it that, extra lift. And you want a kind of slow tempo, slow rolling tempo to get you through the track. So here's how it sounds with bass. So there you have it, guys. That's making an R&B ballad. So I hope this has helped, and yeah, thanks for listening.